Welcome to the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. I am your host, Bryant Godine, and I'm joined by my brothers Keith, Danny, and Steve. We're your waiters, serving you accountability and truth. We now bring you to our program, already in progress. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron, so should men sharpen men. Little housekeeping items. We don't own the rights to anything, so we're tired of being shut off from countries that need to hear us. So I've got to make sure I post this message and also say it that we don't own the rights, but we appreciate the musical artistry from those who we do use. So thank you. And whenever we get some, what is that? Some sponsorship, maybe we might return some money. Maybe, maybe. But welcome to the Iron Table. Of course, I'm Bryant. I got my brothers Keith, Danny, and Steve, and we're hoping to bring you a little bit of truth, a little bit of humor, but always accountability. Fellas, we gotta speed through this, so just a couple of words on how it's been, how you've been since the last time we've spoken. Just try to keep it under 12 minutes if you can.
Yeah, life is always an adventure. Some of us get to experience that adventure on the other side of the world today. But I'm grateful for the opportunities to get to the table.
Oh man, school is back in session. Getting ready. Today gonna be getting ready for the week.
All right.
Things have been going decent. Things been going good. I'm this Michigan weather has been up and down. Yeah, this Michigan weather is yeah. One day it's sunny, then the next day it's raining.
That's Michigan.
Yeah, that's why I don't live there. All right, and just for me, I shared this with Keith. Tell you guys, apparently being a dad and that our kids will snitch on us. Yeah, earlier this week, yeah, or last week, it was time for us to eat, and I told my son, I was like, "Well, why don't we just get a 50-piece nugget from Wendy's? You know, it's only like 14.99." And he was like, "Dad, I don't need 50 pieces. I just want 8." And I was like, "But I gotta eat too, and we also gotta think about what you're gonna eat tomorrow. 50 pieces, that's enough for 3 meals, depending on how you break it up. And I'm married, so I got something for the missus." Well, as soon as I got in the house, this little clone made a beeline to his mother and was like, "Mom, Dad got 50 nuggets." And next thing I hear is, "What? Why did he get 50 nuggets?" And I'm having to explain. I said, we're talking about cost savings here. 50 nuggets, 14.99. If I got him a 10 piece and me a hamburger, we're paying like $28. I was like, nah, this, 50 piece and just get 2 medium fries and we good. Now, of course, as she was saying that, she snuck a nugget. She was going out, and then the next morning, she was like, "Man, what am I going to eat for lunch?" I was like, "Well, I got some nuggets." I said, I believe I have 37 nuggets left. I said, sure, there's enough. Yeah, my nuggets are numbered. But she took some. But I learned that my son does not understand. He has to grow into man provisional logic. So that's what happened to me.
So he not ready to not snitch yet.
No, he is not ready because he ran straight in. He was on the phone. He's like, "Mama, Daddy bought 50 nuggets." She trying to understand, like, why you buy so many? This is why. So I learned that. Okay, so real quick question to kind of get us lubed up. That's the wrong term. Get us ready to talk. I'm sorry, Steve. I said wrong words. Um, it's early. I'm tired. What is something that Black people can't stand that instantly sparks anger? Um, the reason this question came up is because my wife's best male friend, Keith, because they have this little greeting, "Hey Keith, hey Michi," whatever. Um, they were talking about, she's a teacher and she works with kids with autism, and so one of the things, she's dealt with kids that are headbangers, that are biters, scratchers, but she said one thing she cannot handle is a kid that spits. And if she got spit on, she has told me before that she may have to, find another job.
Amen.
So it made me think, what is that one thing that we as a people, or just even maybe not we as a people, for you, that is like non-negotiable, that if it happens, that's it, all bets are off. There's, we're not our calm, reserved selves. We go from 0 to 100.
Oof.
So what is that?
Mm,
For me, I venture to say, particularly as a Black man in America, um, the perception of disrespect is what would prompt a lot of anger. Sometimes it results in a minor skirmish. Ultimately, sometimes it results in the the people unlifing others. And but this idea of respect, it goes back to, back in the day when, you know I bet you won't knock this off my shoulder. It's just like, whatever. Like, and something that won't say. The idea that somebody would come and knock it off his shoulder, it was a show of disrespect. It was me saying to somebody, "You ain't. This is what I think." And like, whether that is in a look, which is, and or a word, the I think it's probably such a big deal because for many of us, we haven't necessarily felt as if we had respect. So we fight for that in ways that might not be productive, might restrict our freedom later in life. But I would argue for the Black woman as well that she doesn't like to be respected. It's a human thing, but in America, I think it's even more as a people. The concept, the notion of respect, oftentimes sparks a lot of strong emotion. That's my thought.
Hmm.
I would definitely have to agree, not even just for like us as people, but just even for me as myself. One of the reasons why I love Japan so much was I saw the respect that people had there for not only each other but just for everybody there. Period. Um, and then to instantly come back and get disrespected or just and feel like it's weird in America. People are so disrespectful that they don't even know that they're being disrespectful. It's just commonplace now, So I would just say, even for me, the notion of respect, um, um, being kind and courteous, and doing those particular things that take no effort whatsoever, and understanding that it takes more effort, it takes more energy to be disrespectful. Yeah, that kind of sends me to another place. That's why sometimes I kind of tend to stay to myself, because everybody really, a lot of times people, especially in America, especially sometimes with our folk too, um, we want to show off. We want to show that I can do this. I'm that. I'm the biggest. I'm the baddest. X, Y, and Z. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. So respect. I definitely uh agree with you, Danny, on the whole respect piece.
Now, I agree with both of you just said, but I'm a shift lanes just a little bit because it the root of it is the respect versus disrespect. But for me, it's hypocrisy. Because you asked me what I
Mm,
hate. And I hate personally hypocrisy, but amongst black men, because this is what we do this for, or just men, I hate hypocrisy. I hate the fact that when you get around certain people, you all of a sudden have respect, but when you come around your own, and this applies to us as sometimes as a culture, we've seen this even in relationships where I know husbands were like, well, she can go to work, and if her boss tells her to come in early and stay late, she do that. But I asked her to do one thing. And so again, when someone shows that they're capable of doing it for someone else and not doing it for our own selves or for the sake of us, I think I hate that. Like I everything else you said was spot on, because there is a thing where we as a community, or for whatever reason, there's some of us who for all kinds of reasons just don't have it internally, and we're missing the esteem, we're missing the value, we're missing the worth, so we have to overcompensate, so it leads to a form of disrespect. But going back to what you said originally, the spitting, yes, I'm with you. Listen, she's spot on. if I ever if you ever heard I'm in jail.
I'm surprised that you are free.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
grateful.
Grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Because though, if even as far as work, I used to brag about it. I worked in the prisons. I worked with all kind of juvenile. I've worked in some tough settings, and I learned not to brag about it. Even the spitting, it has had. I take that back one time, and it's funny. There's so many good kids that it's hard for me to draw their names, but I remember Kevin. I remember Kevin because Kevin tried to spit in my face, and for a minute, I forgot I was a therapist. For a minute, and he's 7. Fortunately, if he was older and he
You
could
made
have
a
mustered
date.
up enough force behind that, it would have connected. And hey,
Well, the reason why spitting on somebody is assault and you get a charge for that.
it is
There's a reason.
Hmm.
the
There's a
reason.
reason. So just as if you hit me in my face with your hands, you spit on
May
me,
as,
you're gonna
may as well.
same consequence.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's more of like money. You mess with my money, we we not cool. It's not about the ability to pay back. I try to make sure that if I lend what I don't expect in return. But if you start to make that request as if I am your benefactor, it's my job to supplement your income, then I've got problems. Interesting enough, you talked about spitting, and I think about, and Keith and I have had this conversation. Uh, like, would you have been able to be during the civil rights movement, be
No.
sitting on a counter while someone is pouring, hot coffee, condiments, yelling all in your ear? Um, could you do that? Could you do that part of civil rights, or are you making buttons in the back and sending out? Do they have to keep you off the front lines, or do you just say, "Hey, yeah, Martin, you're cool, but I'm with Malcolm, Huey, and I'm with the Panthers." What part of civil rights could you be a part of based on what your triggers are, what you can and can't handle? I think I could sit at the counter. That hot coffee would be hot. It would be hot, but I think because of the training, because they had to train those people. They had to sit them down and, it was like, whatever you do not hit back.
I wonder if they had like somebody who trained
Oh, they
and
had to.
like, oh yeah, I got it. Don't hit that. I got it.
If someone says, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right.
Like, he just said hi.
Because again, it's one thing to get in my face and yell the N-word and scream and holler and make threats. But once you touch me, or once the dogs are let loose or the fire hoses come out, That's a different breed back then. My heads will ever be forever like because I don't I no, not me. Like you said, I'm
But
I'm on
remember the agenda.
And you,
the other
The
and
agenda is for all of us to get there. You're saying that you don't have you can't hold it in for 15 minutes.
you ever had hot
it's
anything?
it's
Stick your hand in
it's
hot
almost
water.
a
Like
It's a reaction. It's like
yeah.
when your hand touches the stove, you're not just gonna sit there. Oh, this is really, really hot. Like it's gonna be a knee jerk reaction. So it takes a special breed. They
Mhm.
were definitely followers of Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, the Son of the Living
yep.
God, because he never said a mumbling word. But anytime somebody says something to me, it, I can do the words. But when you talk about something scalding hot, and not react, not a knee-jerk reaction, like that takes a very special human being. In the same way, like spitting, like you're talking about. Like like I applaud anyone who's ever been spat on
Mm,
and didn't respond.
mm, mm,
I mean,
mm.
that's when someone
You
taps you on the shoulder and is like, all right, Mr. Jones, I always like to pick on Deacon. We see you about to you just go to the back, just dry off. I'm gonna go and sit in and finish the rest of your time.
I'm going to the trunk and I'm coming back.
what the preacher spitting on people?
Peaceful
There was a
demonstration.
yeah, there was a preacher spitting on people too, and it was just okay.
Yeah,
It is.
I mean, what if they
I
want to give
digress.
you money at the end? Like, hey, if y'all don't do anything, we got some money for you then. Just because you had the
You know what? I think
no,
that it's kind of a weird question to be able to ask because certain things was just so commonplace back then that again, yeah, it definitely was a different breed of people. You know, the old conversation of if I was a slave, I would have did no, if you was a slave, you would have just got beat.
You would
Everybody
have just been
wasn't
got.
He was
everybody wasn't a Harriet Tubman at all. If you was a slave, you would have got beat or killed. You know what I mean? Because that was just society. That's just how things work. Not to say that it was right or anything like that, but it's just the makeup of how we are now as today as black people. Yeah, we're not going for that at all because that's not anything that we are used to. That's not commonplace, And sometimes, I never forget, as kids, we always say, well, if the teacher do this, if the teacher do that in high school, the teacher do this, they put my hands on me. They put their hands on me. I'm tearing 'em up. I remember in high school, a teacher got sick of this one boy and started choking. They start actually choking him. Now he went to school, this Catholic school for free for the rest of those years. But that boy didn't get up and start wailing on the teacher at
it
all
might
because
have
he
been
was
worth it.
so shocked. He was so shocked, and it was outside the norm that all that toughness, all that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, went completely out the window. When we're talking about trauma, it's either fight or flight. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we're so used to things where everything is so nice for us or whatnot. Lots of times it's flight instead of you know what I mean. Unless you've been in certain situations like that before. But again, that whole moniker of if I was a slave, I would have did this. No, you would have sat there and got what everybody else got to. It's not, or you'd have been dead, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
we,
doubt.
we 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 like to assume that our keyboard warrior courage it would be synonymous with um like something. No, you'd have been picking cotton.
it's it's a
I
different
mean,
feeling.
after
You have
that
a
first
dog
whip,
sick on you, or even even the civil rights movement, having a dog sick on you, man. Everybody also thinks too, like if a dog bite me, I'm gonna do this. No, dogs are
no,
vicious.
dog bite you,
That's
you
a
gonna
different
bleed.
type of yeah. And little dogs. So imagine a big German Shepherd. Real, no, and they're strong. So again, we're talking about trauma on top of trauma and figuring out how you're going to react to it and whatnot. I'm not going to say what I would have done, but I just thank God I wasn't around that time to experience
Yeah, that's not. Nah, I wonder would I hit the dog back with a bat or something? That my non-peaceful protesting sign.
it's almost better to hit a person than the dog.
Mm-hmm.
But now,
Damn.
You don't hit the
yeah, we're not advocating, any type of animal abuse. So I want to just say that. That was,
Did you see what that savage did to that poor German Shepherd? Like
Savage.
all German Shepherd had all the sharp show.
he
His
Savage.
whole arm off.
Savage.
But they
still got the meat in his mouth. Yeah. So,
did you see what he did to that poor dog?
well, now that we're a little warmed up, this is the real question for today. I want y'all to sit and look at
Like,
it.
you really gonna leave us with almost 20 minutes for this question? Seriously?
I mean, no, we can keep going.
Oh,
Only one of us has to step off, and I would say let them speak
oh no,
first.
we
This can be a part
gonna
two.
forever hold his peace.
So
Okay.
let me tell you where this question came from. There is
Oh,
a Netflix
Jesus.
special about DC dads and their daughters. These dads are in jail,
Mm,
and it's where the daughters and in this jail they really don't get an opportunity to have any type of physical interaction, and sometimes they don't even get to see them in the same room. They're on like a teleprompter or something, like, or a television. So this was an opportunity because they said a lot of daughters who don't have their dads in their lives, it perpetuates, a lot of hurt women, which we know to be, sometimes that is the case. Well, and these dads don't have a relationship. They've never gotten to touch, bond, or anything because they've been in jail or have been, longer than what the daughter is, the age of the daughter. So one of the dads said that when he tries to contact his daughter, the mother, no, it was not the dad. One of the moms was like in a small little group was like, "Well, I'm the mother, I'm the father. I'm all this child has and needs." And it had me think like, what to hear that, to pass that on to a child, of female, to just say that I am your mother, I am your father. Now, I understand the circumstances, says I am the only parent that you can rely on outside, but to negate, the position of a man or of a dad builds that independent because your lady was like, I can do it all myself. I got a place, I got this and that. And I'm like, well, I'm cool. I'm happy you're able to provide for yourself, for your family. But then I think about hearing, a lot of women saying, well, no man wants to be with an independent, successful woman. I'm like, that ain't true. It's it ain't the fact that you're independent that turns a man off. It might be the fact that you're boasting about it, that you're constantly reminding men, and then maybe they just like, well, if you keep saying all this, then you really don't need me. So and that's my thought. But from your lenses, from your experience, from just your background, are men really afraid of the independent woman?
I must say that I don't think that I don't think the word afraid would be the right terminology. I think when you start talking about men and women, you have preference, right? Um, Men have options. Men are the custodians of relationship. Okay? If there's a relationship, it's because a man has decided, I want to be in a relationship with you. For the most part, we are the ones who determine if there's going to be a relationship, the extent of that relationship. And so I wouldn't say that men are afraid of an independent woman. I would definitely say that there are many men who would prefer someone who is not as vocal about their independence. I don't need no man. I don't need you. Yeah. It's my money, my house, my. I'll just say that there are many men who would much prefer not to hear that and would choose to um, be in relationship with someone who does not have that tone, that disposition towards him, especially if he's striving to be a protector and provider, a house band,
Hmm.
that leader of his home. Because how can you lead if somebody is challenging your authority um, every minute? And I don't mean authority in a base, like bureaucratic sense, but
Challenging your position.
come on, talk to me, Steve. Talk to me.
I think that it's we definitely not, I wouldn't say afraid. And I would dare, at first when I was hearing you talk, I was saying maybe intimidated, but I wouldn't even say that. It goes back to what we were talking about before. It's respect. If we are coming together as a union, as a
Mhm.
partnership, as partners on this team, and you're telling me that you don't really need me, that you can do all of this by yourself, go for it. Go for it. And I wouldn't say that again, it's about you respecting me at this point because you don't respect my position as a team. I mean, as a partner in this team. At a certain point in time, we have to be able to say, hey, how much do we respect each other as teammates? And it's something about our community where we are, in the black community, it's like we're trying to one up each other as male and female. It's like that's not what it's supposed to be. If you lose, I lose. If I lose, you lose. And it sucks that it takes some black women till they get to their 40s or 50s to understand and realize that. And at that time, the dating pool for your age is small, very
Yeah.
small. So now we're thinking like, I can't find a man. I can't. Yeah, you can't find a man because all the other men that came before you, you didn't respect his position, and you didn't respect your position as well. So now here we are thinking about you can't find a man.
Now, when you say
Put yourself in
position,
that position.
wh- when you say position, because I know we have both male and female listeners. Can you explain what you mean by position? Because some will hear that word
Hmm.
and shut down everything else that you said because
Hmm.
position could look like you are like being was it a male chauvinist. Like you're saying, no,
So
your
when I
space
say,
is
so
in
when I
this
s-
place.
Right. So when I say position, I always tell my couples when we get together, we're learning about each other and we're talking about, hey, what does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be a husband? All these particular things. What is your notion of what does it mean to be a wife? What is your notion of what does it mean to be a husband? What is your expectations? Oh, and they vary and they differ from person to person. But knowing your partner and understand, hey, me as a husband, this is what I think that I should be doing in this relationship. Okay, me as the wife, this is what I think the husband should do. And then vice versa. As a husband, this is what I think the wife should be doing. As a wife, this is what I think the wife should be doing. And coming to understanding that in our relationship, these are the positions that we're going to be playing, such as, hey, I'm the protector. I'm the provider. I'm the back of the finances. I'm the one that keeps the finances. I'm the one that rears the children and so forth and so on. Maybe even the position of I'm the one to take out the trash. Understanding your position in your soul relationship and that differs. Some men are the ones that do take care of the children. And some men are not. It varies. But being able to come together and say, hey, this is what I think my position as a wife, or this is what I think my position as a husband, or this is what I think that a wife should do or a husband should do. You got to have that conversation to understand what those positions even look like. And then when we establish that, respect that position. Don't say, I don't need you for this, because yes, you do. God created man and woman to be together, not by yourself. Because if that was the case, we wouldn't need each other to complement each other. So a lot of times we forget, or a lot of times people say, God, please send me a man. God did send you a man. And another, and another. But you let your ego, you let your arrogance, you let society get in the way of you finding that man. Now you're lonely.
Lonely. Sometimes you get lonely. All right, Deacon, you've been marinating over there. Give us a word.
There's the word. I got the phrase "I don't need you" is being reproduced more and more in our modern society because we do find in our culture right now, a lot of women, Black women especially are landing wonderful jobs. It's a beautiful thing, and um, and it shouldn't be competition. That's just it. It should be partnership, cooperation. But unfortunately, from what I have seen and what people have shared with me, the understanding of what that means, and for a lot of women, even the ones that are not even married yet, the ones that are dating, it interprets to them meaning more money, more power. I'll just call it what some women basically phrased it as. Because I'm bringing, because we ask women, what are you bringing to the table? And typically, they talk about the domestic things, but some women talk about, their success, their earnings, their degrees. Now, I it's true what someone else kind of highlighted. As men, we don't have, typically men don't look for access to their funds. Even women, they'll say his money is my money, and my money is my money. And that's actually how a lot of people flow. It's not a collaborative experience, because I've seen it where even though they're successful, these women, so a lot of these women are successful, have stashes. They've been able to save up a lot of money. If he came to her and said, "Hey, I need to get tires," or I just paid all these expenses, I'm running a little short, I'll give it back to you. I've seen some turn their note like, "You asking me for money?" Like, be utterly offended. Whereas if the roles were reversed, you're the provider. You're the man of the house. You're supposed to take care of these things. So, but then what happens to Miss Independent? If you're so strong and independent, because this how this independence functions for us. we end up doing more and compensating more, but it's not necessarily because we're independent, because it's our role. But what I'm trying to say is, what oftentimes they don't understand is, when you want to step into this lane, there are other expectations and responsibilities that come with that. And a lot of times that's why it doesn't work. You can't go into this trying to act like a man. I didn't sign up to be married to a man, a masculine, so I
I'm
got into this,
masculine female. It's just
right.
like a man.
Yes, right. I got in this to be partnered up with my wife, or with my girlfriend, or with my significant other. So when you tell me that you don't need me, and you create an energy that says that, for most of us men, we're going to take that. It's not going to fit, because this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for partnership. I'm looking for connectivity. I'm looking for collaboration. Help me like I'm helping you. Support me, my goals, my dreams, my aspirations, just like I support you. So, yeah, like I said, I hate
We're
hypocrisy,
taking
and that's one of
we're taking it even a step further with this, man. I know people go say, "Oh, here you go with the spiritual stuff again," but hey, it's a part of our life, and this is what it is. When we're thinking about even the spiritual sense of how things are and what's going on in society, um, and we look at our music or whatnot, man, you got songs such as, Single Ladies or whatnot, or from your Beyonce, whether it be, or Whitney Houston, I'm Every Woman, or whatever it may be, that glorifies this whole independent woman field. At a certain point in time, reality should be setting in. It's like, hey, these particular people that are singing these particular songs, um, either one, they got the money to back up anything they talk about, or they can buy a whole country if they want to, or two, hell, they got a man. They're just singing a song at this point in time or whatnot to make money. And if you keep on thinking that these particular songs that you revere and that you're repeating over and over again, that you really like it, you feel like that's your lifestyle, you get in for a rude awakening, because it's not. It's like almost, the wannabe thug, reciting all these rap lyrics, and if you get out there in the streets, it's not you. You're not about that life. So, a lot of women are not about that life of being independent, nor should they be. It shouldn't be like that at all. You're supposed to have a partner in this game called life. So again, being able to, we always talk about watching what you eat. You need to watch what you listen to, because that gets into your soul, and then when you manifest it, and you get to understand, hey, this ain't what it's supposed to be. And at a certain point in
Yeah,
time, it's too late.
I just want to jump in and point out the difference between independence and individuality, because they're two totally Um,
difference.
yeah, there is a difference. What I'm saying is that anyone who is going about building an independent life, I don't need you. I got this by myself. Like they're going against the divine order. Number one, because it is not good that man should be alone, is a principle that transcends even marriage. But that doesn't mean that we lose that individuality and the ability to have that agency where we're making decisions. Like that's even more foundational to me, to the order. We should retain individuality while understanding that interdependence is of greater value than independence. Because we're not saying that okay, we that men can do it without. No, that's also a misnomer.
It is.
Like the whole idea of a help me makes it
I don't
clear
want to do this
that
by
like
myself.
there's some help that's needed to be able to fulfill responsibility.
Both sides.
And so what men are looking for innately, I would even say divinely, is a partnership. And that partnership, are you really going to get it with somebody who's, I don't
No, well,
miss
this
me
is
with all
how
that.
a lot of women ask me the question. How he ended up getting with that ugly, broke, unattractive helpmate partnership when I got all of this over here. He didn't want that. He chose the person who is going to help him, who is going to listen to him, who is going to support him. Most men don't care about, at the end of the day,
It's nice to look at.
is it even that? Sometimes
It gets old, bro.
It
It gets
old.
old.
I mean, but that's early on in life.
Very
That
superficial.
mess is old.
But that's
to
early
be
on in life.
with,
As we're older, we look at it differently.
to be in a relationship or a partnership with it's nothing. Like it's physical. It looks nice. That's why they had
It looks nice.
they had to turn
That's
trophy
how-
wife, because a lot of men they'll go get the trophy wife.
Nice too. No, it
They'll
don't just
get
look
the
like
trophy
it feels
wife,
nice.
but they'll have the real partner, or they'll go and have an actual relationship with somebody else that is to help me.
Yeah, but as Proverbs says,
Mm.
it's like a gold ring in a pig's nose. Oh, it's a gold ring. It's in a pig's nose.
It's a gold ring.
Right.
It is in a pig's
Right.
nose.
But you know what? I'll tell you what we as men, you know, we kind of, I won't say picking on the women, but again, we as men, sometimes where we get it wrong too in these relationships, is that we go into this relationship and then instead of it being a partnership, we make it a dictatorship under our rule
Absolutely.
sometimes.
True.
You know what I
That
mean?
is
That's the
So
other
we as
extreme.
men we have to be very conscious of not only our role as the head of the household, but also understanding that again, this is a partnership and it should not be a
and
dictatorship.
that's
Because
Let me
hard.
ask you
at
this.
that point,
Most of us either didn't have it or that's what we saw.
But let me ask you this. Okay, can a man trying to prove himself, saying that I can take care of, I can provide, can that like cross over into dictatorship because he's saying, "Hey, I've done all this stuff. I've provided, I've trusted. You should trust and follow me because I've met your basic needs." Now, I'm not trying to say
how
that I'm not for dictatorship,
It's
but I'm
not
saying,
What
can
is
how much
dictatorship?
say does she have in that decision? Again, how much say and
you'd be
input does
surprised?
she have
Women
in that?
have, they have, I would almost say 51% say.
Sometimes
Influence, I would say strong, very strong
Influence.
influence.
80%
But at the
influence.
end of the day, the decision is still the man. But the influence on that decision is, a woman has influential powers. Like we'll say, yeah, we made that decision, but we made it under the advisement of our partner.
My wife likes
And,
flowers.
and again, just
Flowers would
understand
never be
in knowing that. And
flowers,
knowing that, like again, as a
would
man,
never,
a man, you should know that. You know what I mean?
flowers
Like,
would
hey,
never be
yeah,
a
I
part of
make the decision, but she did it. She helped me.
flowers would never be a part of my budget, but my wife likes them, so I don't
You gotta
see
buy
the
it.
same
You
thing
get
that
some
she sees
seeds.
them, but the influence.
Yeah.
Influence.
I think that when it
Influence.
comes to independence, and even like Steve just pointed out, like that control, power, I think that one extreme creates the opposite extreme.
They do.
Yeah.
They can.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
both are going to result in a dysfunctional relationship. And so
All
what
day.
we need to do is to understand that that ain't the way. Neither is this the way. Um,
So,
we've got to get to the point where we're able to understand the principles and integrate them so that we can be in healthy relationship, and that we're not even the word in First Corinthians is talking about the hand can't say to the foot, I don't need you.
I don't need you.
That's
Yeah.
good.
So why would any person, especially if you're coming from a faith-based background, ever say to another human being, I don't need you?
Because they've been emotionally hurt and they
Yeah.
want that person to feel that hurt. And the only way that men will really feel hurt,
It's through words. It's
yeah,
no.
it's
That's what I don't think they understand. The words that they use, because these words are more detrimental to us than actually the physical. Like, because physically, most women can't. They're not strong enough. Their upper bodies are built different.
let's not play that.
But their words, and they know this, their words cut deeper
mhm.
and harder than anything that because we. So when you keep hearing, I don't need you from most people, I know a lot of men interpret that. What she need me
Chips
for?
away.
What she need me for? And
Oh,
again,
oh, but man, but I've discovered though, Keith, I've discovered, yes, this they can hurt us with those words, but it backfires because I don't need you. I don't need you. When we feel
yes,
that we hurt,
that's what I'm saying.
we it may take some years, but we move on. And then
We
we
shut
do
down and
find
move on.
somebody and we find somebody that needs us. Then that other person sees that, oh damn, they got somebody that needs them. And then
Yeah,
they feel a certain way about them.
Yeah.
So
If I could just
Let's
say,
not get the kids in there.
those words backfire.
they do.
yeah,
They
if
do.
I could just say it, because I got to run at the top of the hour because I have another commitment that I have. But I
Okay,
just want
bro.
to point out the fact that it's hurting them because Black women are they're the demographic that is least likely to be married.
Mm,
And most of them long for something that they're disqualifying themselves for.
mhm,
Not all of them, but many of them, by having this disposition, they're repelling the very thing that they're saying that they want more than anything else. Because the
mhm,
nature of a man is to lead. It's to have a partnership with someone who will help him accomplish his work in this world. So that's where I kind of rest my hat. But it's always a pleasure to be at the table. I got to run.
I'm a,
All right, man. Take your folding chair. Nah, it's a real chair. All right, bro, man. Thanks for stopping through. So let me ask you this. And I'm thinking about, when we say the word independent, and Danny had mentioned individuality. If I was writing a song, the word independent sounds a lot better than individuality. Is it possible that women really mean individuality and not that I don't need you, but that I am who I am and I don't lose myself because I'm with you?
I think that's everybody. That's in relationships. Period. Two become one, but it's important to keep certain things that make you you, because that's what attracted you to the other person. You don't want them to lose certain things in you yourself.
Oh yeah, I love my independent wife.
And then two, there are a lot of, because of the numbers, there's just a lot of women who will never marry,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Some of them don't want to. Some of them happy being single, independent. And I don't think it's a bad thing that they celebrate the reality of their lives. It's not a bad thing.
yeah,
It's when it's weaponized. It's when it's
yeah.
becomes, because I'm single and I like being single. I now when it comes across as I hate you because I'm single.
I only need you for one thing
I
now.
only need you for one thing now, and just like we shouldn't do the same thing to them. Like, again, there are a lot of guys who
mhm.
are choosing to be single and they enjoy it. I don't think if they came out with a song, all the single men, I don't think that's a terrible thing unless it's weaponized to degrade those
Mhm.
or to minimize those who choose something different.
Well, there was that song, I don't want no scrubs. No, that was the
That's TLC,
no, it's TLC saying she ain't want scrubby men. But
and
then there
that's
was a
yeah.
comeback song that was like, I don't want no, what is it? Uh,
Um,
was it Chicken Heads? It was some group that I can't remember, but there was a comeback song.
It was.
But why we the only race that gotta
Oh,
pronounce that?
man, I knew that
That's
was
like a
gonna happen.
given. No duh, no nobody want no scrub, but no duh, don't nobody want no chicken head either. Why are we the only ones that have to pronounce all of this to the world? What's wrong with us,
We
man?
will never have a conversation without us doing something the rest of the world does not do. We should have a special segment. What do we do that the rest of the world will not do? And then why do we do it? We know why. Because we were never we have spent more time away from the royalty, the respect, the everything that came from the motherland. And we have been put in places where there's scarcity of resources, scarcity of education, and it has been so deep that even now, while we can say America is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest country in the world, that there's still the desire to be better is not there because we've spent so much time
Mhm.
in low poverty-ish situations that innate desire that's in us to say, I want to be better, I want to do better, I want to get my family out, I want to do generational wealth, I want to make the sacrifice. All that is gone because everything else has been handed to you. And like, well, why try if I'm getting this and I'm okay?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, now, I as I go back, I enjoy. I love my independent life. I love someone that doesn't need me for everything. There's a lot of things that I know she'll need me for. It gives me time to what is it? To recover from, the need. And the same thing, I need some stuff from her. And when I don't, it gives her an opportunity to recover, to rest, to build up energy, and we're able to move together because we understand the positions, using our words, the positions that we need. But
And I'm sure that takes a lot of communication.
yeah, it
Yeah.
takes a lot of communication and a lot of organic situations. And I mean, organic, I mean, you got to have the highs, you got to have the lows in order to understand, all right, this is how this person or how I'll move in this situation, how she moves in this situation. And sometimes may not move well. And I've got to
Mm.
allow her influence to get us through, that situation, and then
What
vice versa.
I'm if I may go back, what is the need for anyone to continue to repeat that phrase? What do you think is the need, or what causes a person to have to constantly remind you of how much they make and that that they're independent and that they don't need you? Like, where does that stem from? Where do you think the origin of that comes from?
Hurt. I think from a lot for those women in the past, when that song "Papa Was a Rolling Stone," how much we like that "Debbie Daddy," because of that, and they would leave them. I mean, just straight leave and maybe go down the street, 10 houses down, but they would leave them where they had nothing. And so, at that point, I understood that women were taking care of the home, and so they were living off of the monies that the father was bringing in, and of course, the wife was able to multiply it with her abilities. But you take away that financial piece, that
Mm.
security piece, that safety piece, and so it planted a seed of resentment towards that one man, and that story was passed down. Like, you need to be in a position where if he were to leave, you need to be okay. So that's where that stash comes from. That's where, that cadre of cash that we don't know about, or we say we don't know about. Well, we probably know it's there. Because if a lot of Black women have experienced, at least someone has a story in their family where a man has left his family and left them to fend for themselves. And so said, hey, uh, you need to be prepared. And if any man decides to do that, or even gives a hint, and it could be that it is not even anywhere near that hint, and like, go to what is the core of every man to be able to provide, protect, and support. And if you call him out on that and you tell him, I don't need you for that, while you're saying, hey, I've got the ability to, you might be saying, I got the ability to carry us if it was said in a nice way. But in the weaponized way, it is you continue to act this way. And maybe they're trying to change behavior. You know, what I said, threats never move a man. The threats, they don't move us. There's other ways to get us to,
to be action. I hate that you bring this up because
but that's what happens.
I normally try
But
not
you,
to be on but Judge Mathis apparently I guess his wife filed for divorce.
oh we,
Right. That's because nobody saw that coming after 39 years. And like
but here's the thing. No, we're not gonna say that because here's the thing. Here's the thing, and we're gonna talk about how we ain't got to deal with all of this stuff or whatnot. As far as I got to tell you, I'm an independent woman. I got to think about you being a Rolling Stone. All this stuff, all the red flags are there, day 1 through day 30, and we are sitting down and having sex with these people that we don't even know, creating new babies, getting married to people that we don't know, and then wondering, oh well, how did this happen? And all the red flags are there through from day 1 through day 30. You can see it all. But we choose to stay in the thick of all of this. Then all of a sudden now you wondering why this the man that was married to somebody else when you met him and was sleeping around with you after he left his wife to be with you is now still sleeping around with other people. When you met him, he was doing. What you think?
that's how you met him.
You think you think you the Messiah that he just gonna change for you? Come on
But let me,
now.
but let me ask you this, and thinking about that someone's leaving someone else. Remember, I mean, can we tie that to slavery, where people were being traded?
I don't think this has anything to do with slavery. I think it's because this was around before
So,
slavery. Infidelity,
mhm,
divorce, all this was around before slavery. It's even in the Bible where
yeah,
Moses had to make rules to this thing because y'all just divorcing willy nilly. We need a divorce contract because people fighting over women. No, that's my wife. No, that's my no. We need a whole system set up now that when you guys
mhm,
decide not to be together, we know what to do. Because Jesus said God never wanted this, but because of sin, Moses had to do something. So,
mhm,
um, so
mhm.
here we are. But what I was saying, after 39 years, she filed for divorce. Then I see this. It was quiet. He was quiet, which I understood. He came back. Somebody finally, I think it was TMZ, finally and actually interviewed him, and he was talking about how he admits he was neglectful. He was not taking care of what he needed to do, and he had been absent over the last, I think he said, just or over whatever time. But he gave some understanding of how he feels or what he believes led up to here. Now, whether it's the truth, I don't really care about none of that. I
Keith and
bring it up.
Brian, Keith and
I'm
Brian.
sure before they got here, she warned him several times that we need to fix this or we need to change this. And this is where the dictator in us comes out. I'm making the money. I'm doing this. I'm not changing nothing. So her action, that's why I said the threats probably didn't do a thing. It was her action of filing. And now that this has gone public and now that there's some heat, he said it in the interview. I need to go fix my marriage. I'm trying to fix my marriage. I'm trying to because again, but why?
Now that it got hot. Now that it
Now they
got
got
hot.
so
This
I
been
was saying
going
that
on for
because you
years. For
spoke on we
years.
we don't always. I would love to say that we respond to cues and threats. I would love to say it, but time and time again, and some people do. I will say sometimes it's not even about a man thing. There are some people that say if you don't fix this, this is what's going to happen, and they say okay, let's work on it. But I know for most of us men, even when it comes to our physical health, it gotta fall off for us to go in. It'll be burning. It'll be aching. It'll be hurting, broken, crooked. I walk it off. It takes it falling off to be like, yeah, I need to go do something about this. Why are we like this?
Because you know what?
Toxic
We
masculinity.
we have something in us where, and I believe you'll keep me and you talked about this, even talking about even thinking about even my marriage and the demise of that in the divorce. I should have been divorced a long time ago. But that whole thought of, oh, I'm a failure if I get a divorce, or I'm now a statistic. We got these delusions in our head of that of these particular things that may be going on that they or might go on if we get a divorce, that keeps us in the midst of all of that drama and all of that mess. When God Himself is telling you, hey, you need to get out of this. So first and foremost, maybe God didn't even ordain this, but you're staying in it for the fact of, oh, I gotta prove family members wrong. I mean, I gotta prove myself right. I gotta prove society wrong. I gotta not be a statistic. I gotta all these things, and to ultimately still do it, but have gone through so much mess and so much drama that you could have saved yourself that mess and that drama from the get go. And I think we actively choose to stay in the midst of chaos sometimes.
Yeah, I think, is there ever time that, because what I don't want people to do is assume that because relationships get hard or difficult or challenging that the answer is getting
Quit it.
out.
No.
Right.
Is there ever a time that you go through hell and you fight to fix it because it's worth saving?
You have to read Dante's Inferno.
And what I mean by that is going back to what you said, because the main deal breaker for a lot of people or most people is infidelity. But I actually know a lot of couples, only because of my job. I know a lot of couples who have gone through that and they still trucking. The whole world don't know their testimony. They kept,
and that's the thing, is that because it's not public.
It's not public because you see all the
because if it's public, man, I wouldn't do that. And then all of a sudden you get these words in it, and the outside forces are what pushes it apart.
Sometimes red flags are there in the beginning and we see them most times and we ignore them most times. But then sometimes people change after they get married. Like, again, when I got married, I like to work out. I ate healthy, and now I got married. I caught her now, so I'm I'm letting go. I ain't working out another day of my life. I'm not taking another bath because the goal was, again, I look good to catch. That was the bait to catch the girl. Now that I got the girl, I know some guys who, again, they have admitted they even down to hygiene just totally slacked off, but their wives have let them know. Their wives have threatened to leave if you don't do something about it. But these change, I bring these up to say these changes happened after. This wasn't the person that they, like I call him, the representative. This wasn't the representative gone. This is actually who he is. But she didn't see this. So now what? Does she divorce, or does she work with him while he tries to get himself together?
This is why I believe long dating, short courtship.
Yeah. If the brother is still married after 5 years of you dating this married man, and he's still telling you he gonna get a divorce, it's your fault at this point. Everything else that happens after that is your fault. This is your fault.
I mean, you gotta explain that. You explain that. You're saying if someone's,
I know I say
if the brother that you're dating is still
he's saying
married
to the women, okay,
after 5 years of him telling you he's gonna get a divorce, this is your fault at this point, and this is comedy for the rest of us, because this is dumb at this point. And your expectations of him being, he don't owe you anything.
No.
He's a husband to another wife, to another woman. He doesn't owe you anything.
Oh, okay. I thought these two people were married, and he's telling this person.
No.
You're saying that he's in another relationship with. Okay,
again,
thank you.
we're talking about red flags.
I'm like, what?
We're talking about red flags, and a lot of red flags that I see with people, with a lot of our women, that they're dating men that are married, and they're telling them, "I'm going to get a divorce. I'm going to get a divorce. I'm gonna do this.
So
I'm gonna do that."
3, 4, 5, 6 years pass, and he's
still telling you the same thing.
I gotta wait for the kids to get older.
And
okay,
and even
all
still,
right.
if he got the divorce, are you trusting enough that you will not end up in the same predicament, but him having another person? Because how you found him is
That's how he's gonna
often
leave.
Karma come right back around. Karma comes back around. If you don't respect anything, respect the sanctity of what the notion of what marriage is, so that karma don't come back on your marriage.
Or you just
And
don't
a lot of
or you just don't have to constantly live with that, because I've seen people in sessions because of that. They know, and they've talked about it openly. I don't think he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna leave his wife. I was like, you don't think? It's like he's not leaving his wife. I was like, okay, because it's been 4 or 5 years, and every time he says it, every time you threaten to leave, and when you have cut him off, that's when all of a sudden he shows you attention again. But once he has you, he goes back to his family and
So
keeps you on the shelf.
It's a picking down.
so do real men operate
Oh,
on threats? Because you just said, hey, if she says I'm going to leave you, and then all of a sudden he does right. So does a real man with morality, does he operate on threats?
He still can.
not at all. He can, but
I
mm-mm.
wish that. Well, no, I hope that we as men overall we get better because again, we all hate this, and I don't even want to bring it up because I don't want to. Don't do this, women. But they be like, honey, can you something simple? Can you change the light bulb? And it's like, yeah, I get to it. And then when we see them go get the step stool, it's like, man, move, get it. I move out the way. I got it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
don't. We going to do it.
Well, be
But
specific. Say, can you change it right now?
yeah,
Now we have a conversation.
and that will help. When some guys will be like, "Nah, babe, I'm watching the game. I change it after the game," and so
Yeah, that is true. We need
the
specifics.
well, some women say, "Well, if you don't do it, I'm gonna just do it right now myself." And some guys be like, "Okay, go ahead." And then, but the action of her doing it normally irks our souls enough that sometimes we intervene. And that could be good and bad because that sometimes that
It's
could be
gonna be a
used to
consequence.
manipulate.
It's gonna be a consequence
It's gonna be
for her having to do it.
right.
You don't hear about it.
You're gonna hear about it. So
Motivation. So I'll do it now just so it's motivation. I'll just do it so I ain't gotta hear your mouth. Just go ahead and do it.
my mouth.
So let
So
me ask this, because we were talking about independent women. Who created the independent woman? Was it the woman herself, or was it the man?
I say her circumstances because I don't think sometimes we control that.
Mhm.
I my father-in-law had 4 girls and he taught them how to do some things because he ain't had no sons. So she told me we were out cutting grass and put stuff together. And one day I came home thinking I was gonna have to put together a bookshelf. She had already done it. So
Mhm.
it felt odd at first because I'm like, I told you I would do it when I got home. She's like, well, it was here. And I wanted to again. She was excited. So she put it together. So this was new. This is new for me. So because I was actually looking forward to putting it together for her, but she did it. And so that level of independence, now naturally it won't be everything. There's been plenty of things she has left for me. But
And you know what? Us as men, we got to get over ourselves too.
yes,
Is
I was just right there. I had to get over
thinking
myself.
about like, no, Nick. Oh, I'm gonna say something. No, brother, she don't need you. Do you honestly think if y'all get out this relationship or divorce or whatever it may be, that's just the end of her world? That she gonna die? That she can't feed
Man,
herself, clothe
I see
herself,
women
pay
putting
her fee? You think
refrigerators from
that's what's gonna
walls.
happen? Come on, bro. You,
I love
and
I
then
love how
even and then
I
you go
love how
through.
they act helpless and they can't do nothing. I'm glad, like, because now everybody got cameras inside their house. Men be catching their wives pulling the refrigerator from the wall to sweep behind. Like they doing all this stuff
Oh yeah, I
that
saw that video.
they act like they can't do, but we catching them now. Thank you, Ring.
Yeah,
Thank you,
like
all
was
the
it
cameras.
lifting the
Mm-hmm.
couch? Like what?
The
Man,
couch is the vacuum under it. It's like, wait a minute. She holding that up with one hand.
wrong,
But
wrong,
then when you home, it's like, babe.
But
wrong.
they're feeding into our innate desire to provide and to show our manhood in manly ways.
And
Use our strength.
to be honest, not I mean, again, we figure out how to we love when they provide some form of nourishment, whether your wife cooks or makes sandwiches or boil some rice. We love it. But if they are not home or before we met them, how do we eat? We figured out some way to eat.
We did.
So we could constantly say how much we don't need them, but the reality is that we
I'm
do.
not gonna say that.
And that we find ones that we want to be with, and we we invest in them. We spend time teaching them us, and we spend time learning them. And so that's why it's hard when relationships end or divorces happen, because a lot of people, for what I remind my clients, for what it's worth, you've been investing, if you've been trying to make this work, you've been investing in this relationship all these years. So to watch your investment walk out the door with somebody else is hard.
Yeah,
And I think it's we need each other spiritually. You know what I mean? A lot of times we're thinking about this physical stuff or whatnot. That again, I mean, yeah, it's nice for you to protect me, or it's nice for you to be nurturing to the kid X, Y, and Z. But if any other person leaves this earth, again, yeah, that person's gonna pick up the slack. Yeah, she's gonna have to protect herself, or yeah, I'm gonna have to raise the kids. So, one of those things are gonna happen. So I think that even the need that we need from each other, I think we need to probably even go a little bit deeper with that. Say on a spiritual level, we need each other, not just physical.
yeah. Well, I've said it before that when God created man in His own image, it wasn't just man. We're not thinking of just the physical, manly side of man. He also created woman,
Yes, sir.
and that is one half of woman is one half of God, man is one half of God. Together, we are the image of God. If you think about it, as a man, we deal with respect, with all respect. So that is
Okay.
Old Testament God. I'm telling you, I said, we are like Old Testament God. If you
Oh,
did something wrong, you got your
Yahweh,
consequences. It was,
Yahweh.
but the New Testament God is more like a woman where there is grace, there's understanding, there is, all right, I know you did wrong, this is how you
Forgiveness.
get right. Forgiveness. There is a measure of, you may not I know what you deserve, but I'm going to give you this because I know that I've provided you with the tools in order to get it right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
together it makes that whole Bible. So together, that's why I really believe that the enemy is attacking marriages more than anything else, finding any which way. It could be other person, it could be music, it could be media, it could be, just being left to our own idle thoughts to attack the home, because he knows if we are separated, because remember, it was with in Genesis, the fall of Adam and Eve, because they were separated. Because I
Mhm.
believe if Adam was standing right next to Eve, I'm like, wait a minute, talking serpent, the giraffes don't talk, the zebras don't talk. That talks. We need to leave that alone. Plus, God said, don't touch it. He told Adam, you don't eat from it. I don't know if Eve was around when he gave that instruction, but he entrusted Adam to tell Eve, share some of those directions. And because they were separated, they were not as strong of a bond. Remember that two strands is better than one strand. It's got a little bit of strength. But fellas, we are near that time. I did hear dad, so I know that I heard the first dad. So I'm trying to get out before the second dad comes and have to put out some fires. But what are our parting thoughts or final words? Oh, wait a minute. Parting words or final thoughts. I can't read today.
Mhm. I would just say, respect each other. Whether you're in a relationship or not, just all people just respect each other. It goes a long way, very long.
Okay.
All right, to the men out there, before you get out there looking for a relationship, again, learn to respect yourself, learn to respect others, um, and that should make it easier to find someone who respects you. So,
Mm.
but that's it.
And I'll just say, again, we were talking about independence. Independence isn't a bad thing. Weaponizing it is bad.
Oh,
Most men would be happy to say, hey, man, my partner can do,
Mhm.
so many different things. But we've
Mhm.
never heard a man boast about his his woman, his partner saying, I don't need him, that she didn't need me. No,
Mhm.
and that she has said that. We don't share that because that is embarrassing. That is hurtful. Um,
Mhm.
and as we know, our strength is our arms and our muscles and stuff like that, and their strength is their words. And to cut a man down is to tell this man that you do not need him. So for the women that hear it, please don't tell us that. Find another way to get your message across. And for guys that hear it, listen to the hurt behind that. because there has to be something that's missing in order for that to be said as viciously as it is. This has been the Iron Table, where iron sharpens iron. I'd like to thank my brothers, Keith, Steve, and Danny, who had to check out early. Look forward to bringing you some truth, some accountability next time. Until then, peace. Well, it's closing time. We are glad you stayed with us this long. The bill? Oh, we tore that up. For truth and accountability are free. You want to leave a tip? Sure, we take your money, but what's even better is if you share this with someone you know, for there's always room for more at the Iron Table.